Well, man. What was that tonight? Was that a good episode of Smackdown Live that we seen tonight? I think so. I don't want to make it a trend or anything, man, but tonight I'm actually going to be a little bit more open to some positivity when it comes to what SmackDown is doing towards a pay-per-view. And this Friday we have WWE Crown Jewel from Saudi Arabia. I think SmackDown Live did a commendable job at building towards Crown Jewel. Now, on Monday Night Raw, we got the build between Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar came back to Monday Night Raw. Braun Strowman said that Brock Lesnar's going to get these hands. You know, pretty cut and dry, very boring build to their Universal Championship match. Everyone is expecting Braun Strowman to walk away the Universal Champion. Now, I wouldn't be too jumpy at that aspect, and I mentioned this on Monday's Raw review, because we didn't know what WWE was going to do with the whole situation surrounding Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan did not want to work Crown Jewel. We didn't know if they were going to write him out on Tuesday, which is tonight, and then we got WWE, possibly doing it on Friday. So we didn't know where Daniel Bryan was actually going to be written out of the show. So it was a wait-and-see game. So before SmackDown even happened tonight, and before the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan happened tonight, I want to just backtrack a little bit to what we talked about on Monday. Now, if we were thinking about Crown Jewel and Bryan working Crown Jewel, and we got the WWE title match at Crown Jewel, I was giving you scenarios about WWE having to think about Survivor Series. What if AJ Styles beat Daniel Bryan? And what if Brock Lesnar walked out of Crown Jewel as the Universal Champion? Okay, that would make Survivor Series, pretty big deal. AJ versus Brock 2. And we talked about Survivor Series last year. That was probably one of the best matches all year for WWE. AJ versus Brock at Survivor Series last year. If Braun Strowman went into Crown Jewel and beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal title, and we got AJ coming out on top at Crown Jewel beating Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship, we would be looking at AJ Styles versus Braun Strowman for the matchup at Survivor Series. That does not interest anybody at all. I think that would be an awful match. I don't think they would gel together at all, and that's not something that I'm interested in seeing whatsoever. Now, if Brock Lesnar, and we all know about Brock Lesnar, nobody wants to see him as the Universal Champion, but in this case, it would make sense. I'm not saying give the title to Brock Lesnar for another 500 days, but it could certainly work in a 3-month run. Get through Survivor Series, have him drop the title at TLC to Drew McIntyre or somebody in a TLC match or ladder match or something along those lines, and just get us through Survivor Series. Hell, we'll get an AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar match out of it. That was my mindset, okay? Or you can have Daniel Bryan. If Daniel Bryan was really going to work Crown Jewel, Daniel Bryan could have beat AJ Styles at Crown Jewel on Friday, and we could have been looking at Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar for Survivor Series, which is another one of those please take my money matchups, and a matchup that Daniel Bryan wants very badly. So that was Monday. So now we roll on into Tuesday, and it is now confirmed as of this episode of SmackDown Live that Daniel Bryan is not working Crown Jewel, and that Crown Jewel is coming early on SmackDown Live. We're getting a Crown Jewel WWE Championship match to open SmackDown Live. So Bryan is not working. John Cena is now not working. So that's two guys on the, upper echelon of WWE status, not working Crown Jewel. So we're getting the WWE Championship match tonight. Daniel Bryan tapped out clean to the calf crusher. Daniel Bryan is no longer in line for a WWE Championship title opportunity. Maybe somewhere down the line he's got to work for it, obviously, again. But AJ is the WWE Champion now going into Crown Jewel. I want you guys to think about this situation. Number one, I did think about this, but I don't think it's going to be the case after what we've seen on SmackDown Live. The first thing that I seen when I seen Daniel Bryan tap out was, oh man, Daniel Bryan tapped out clean to the calf crusher. He lost to AJ Styles. Could this be punishment to Daniel Bryan from WWE for not going to Saudi Arabia and being a team player? And WWE said, you know what, we're going to punish you from here on out. We don't know where Daniel Bryan's status is with WWE. I doubt that anything comes of it, because they would be foolish to punish Daniel Bryan over something that he truly believes in his heart, something that he doesn't want to do. You can't really hold that against him. That would be terrible if WWE buried Daniel Bryan along the way for not going to Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel. So that was the first thing that I actually thought of when Daniel Bryan tapped out. Then we seen the ending of the match, which presents a whole new fucking can of worms. Samoa Joe comes back. He was rumored to be injured. Samoa Joe was rumored to be injured, and now Samoa Joe not only attacked AJ Styles, but attacked Daniel Bryan, laying them both out with the coquina clutch. Now, I'm hoping that Samoa Joe is healthy enough to stay healthy and not re-aggravate whatever injury that he had before. But Samoa Joe is back with SmackDown Live, and being that we got Crown Jewel early with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, now the story is Styles wants Joe, and the match is now, instead of AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, it is AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe at Crown Jewel. Which, again, like I said, opens up a whole new can of worms. So listen to this proposition. Remember what we talked about on Monday. WWE has Survivor Series coming up. It's champion versus champion. We got IC champion versus US champion. So right now it's Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Women's champions going head-to-head. Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. The Universal Championship should just be, as important to the WWE here going into Survivor Series as the WWE Championship should be. You need to present the best matchup possible. And you need to have this on the top of your head going into Survivor Series 3 weeks from now. Brock Lesnar could still win the title. AJ Styles could still win his match against Samoa Joe. We could still be headed towards AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar too. I am not going to complain about that. I think WWE should take this one step at a time. If they want to give Brock Lesnar the title for a short month span till the end of the year and then have him drop it to Drew, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. WWE now has Samoa Joe in the equation. What if Samoa Joe beats AJ Styles in Saudi Arabia and becomes the WWE champion? Now, if Joe is the WWE champion, either Strowman or Lesnar works in this case. Joe beating Styles could be WWE's way to get the title on Braun Strowman and keep it on Braun Strowman and not have it on Brock Lesnar at all. And not have the urge to give it to Brock Lesnar. If Joe beats Styles at Crown Jewel, he's only got to worry about Survivor Series. Whatever happens with Joe and the WWE title will be happening at TLC. You could factor in Styles, you could factor in Miz, you could factor in Bryan, and do what I originally had proposed in a Fatal 4-Way match in a ladder match. And then the Miz can win the WWE Championship, and then Daniel Bryan can work his way back up to the WWE Championship and take it off the Miz at WrestleMania. But if Joe beats Styles, we could be looking at Joe versus Strowman, which, like I said, would be a great way for WWE to get the title on Strowman and not have it be on Brock Lesnar, and he could hold it for the rest of the year. But we could also look at a Joe versus Lesnar 2 match, which I think would be fucking great as well, just as great as AJ Styles. This could be a blessing in disguise for WWE with Daniel Bryan not working Crown Jewel. Instead of having Strowman kind of teetering on, well, should we give him the title? Should we not give him the title? And instead of WWE completely going all in on Brock Lesnar again because he's the safe bet, now they got Joe involved. If, for only a little bit, if Vince thinks he's injury prone, just for a little bit, get the title on Samoa Joe. I think it would be great, not only for Joe to have that on his resume, but it would be great for Survivor Series. Either one of those matches, Joe versus Strowman or Joe versus Lesnar, intrigues me. I think Joe and Strowman could have a fucking war if WWE allowed them to. Joe and Lesnar, that's self-explanatory. I think they got the short end of the stick when they actually went at it at Great Balls of Fire last year, and I would like to see them do more. But if AJ Styles is to win and Braun Strowman is to win, that's not something that I want to see. If AJ wins and WWE goes with the safe bet on Brock Lesnar, I'm okay with Lesnar getting the title because we have to take it step by step and worry about Survivor Series. Joe, if he gets the title, it'll be okay for WWE to put it on Strowman. It'll be okay for them to put the title on Lesnar. Both of those matches work. So, if you really think about it, Daniel Bryan not working Crown Jewel is actually a blessing in disguise. It gives WWE a little bit more unpredictability. It gives them a little bit more room to work with. And it benefits WWE, whereas Styles is only going to get you one good match out of Survivor Series. Joe could actually get you 2 good matches with Strowman or Lesnar. I'm just throwing that out there, guys. I'm just throwing that out there. I know a lot of you guys don't like the thought of Brock Lesnar holding the Universal Championship again, but it won't be. And I don't think WWE would make the same mistake here again, because it honestly makes no sense. I can't see them giving Brock Lesnar another long title reign. Now, some of you guys were joking, well, the title looks good on Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, the biggest superstar that they got. Brock Lesnar's been the only one who has not really succumbed to the curse that is the Universal Championship. You know, everybody else that's held it has been injured and has a terrible title reign to their record. Brock Lesnar seems to be immune to the curse that is the Universal Championship. You know, all this hokey pokey shit. But if they want to give the title to Lesnar, it makes sense to get the match out of Styles. It makes sense to get the match out of Joe. If they want to give it to Strowman, it makes sense to get the match out of Joe. So you got to think about Survivor Series. I've been saying this for several weeks now. WWE needs to book Survivor Series in mind going forward. Daniel Bryan being out of Crown Jewel offers a lot of unpredictability, and it makes Crown Jewel, where a lot of people told me, JD, why are you covering the show? Why aren't you taking a stance like the rest of the community? I know Steven Larson aren't covering the show. Brian Zane's not covering the show. CM Pulse is not covering the show. I'm going to cover the show. There's too much importance in some of these instances that I don't want to not sit home and not watch it, you know? Or I don't want to sit home and not watch it. I don't want to be here and you know, be one of those fucking idiots that sits here and is just taking a stance for the sake of taking a stance because everybody else is taking a stance. No, this is my job to cover WWE. They're in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to cover fucking WWE. There's too much importance surrounding these new situations and these new scenarios. So let me know what you guys think about that. Really. I hope Daniel Bryan is not being punished. I don't think he is. So WWE, in actuality, I think they got the better end of the deal here with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles happening tonight instead of on Friday. Joe being involved is such a wild card. Joe being involved is such an unpredictable aspect that I think WWE should actually be counting their blessings. It makes Crown Jewel that much more intriguing to the viewer. Seriously. WWE actually also made the World Cup a little bit more intriguing by something that Shane McMahon said on SmackDown Live tonight. Now, he gathered Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, and Randy Orton. And in typical WWE fashion, they are putting them in a tag team match. They're putting the babyfaces versus the heels because that's what lazy creative writing does with WWE. But Shane McMahon uttered that whoever is in this tournament representing SmackDown Live, and if they get to the finals and they lose to a Raw superstar, giving his sister, Stephanie McMahon, the right to brag that a Raw superstar won the right to be called the best in the world, Shane McMahon personally said in front of all 4 of them that they will no longer have a home on SmackDown Live. That in itself, that little wrinkle, makes the World Cup tournament a little bit more intriguing. Now, as far as who I think is going to the finals, I think Seth Rollins is actually going to the finals here. I honestly do. WWE could certainly do that and have the finals be Rey versus Rollins, or it could be Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, you know? But if Seth Rollins is going to be in the finals, Dean Ambrose doesn't have a role on their show. Dean Ambrose could certainly fuck over Seth Rollins, and this could all be one of those little intriguing little nuggets that WWE just threw in there to make it a little bit more interesting, yet have SmackDown Live still come out on top in this thing. Randy Orton could win it. The Miz could win it. The Miz is a likely winner in this thing because it would get him easy, you know, as a number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. I mean, how are you going to win a fucking tournament and be called best in the world and not get a WWE Championship opportunity out of it. The Miz could win it, you know? Rey Mysterio being in it offers a lot of unpredictability because he just came back. I can't see him losing immediately back to WWE television. Randy Orton really hasn't done, much on SmackDown Live, but I know that he's been fucking brutal in his attacks on the idols that we look up to. Randy Orton doesn't need to be pinned. That would really take away his mystique right now and everything that he's built up on SmackDown Live. I can't see him losing. So we'll see what happens here, man. It's a very intriguing situation going into the World Cup even. And if SmackDown Live is in the finals, which at this case, there's definitely going to be somebody, which I'll talk about in a second. If SmackDown Live Superstar gets into the finals and loses, this could be another way for WWE to bolster Monday Night Raw's roster. Because what they're telling you is the loser on SmackDown Live, if they do lose in the finals, is going to end up on Monday Night Raw. That could, bolster Monday Night Raw where they desperately need something. And we could be looking at a possible trade. Maybe Shane McMahon is going to offer a trade. If somebody on SmackDown Live loses, maybe the loser gets traded to Monday Night Raw in exchange for somebody else. We could see somebody from Monday Night Raw come over to SmackDown Live. So we'll see what happens with that, man. It's definitely an intriguing aspect to that tournament now as well. But I'm looking at Seth Rollins and a possible Dean Ambrose interference, and I think I'm going with a SmackDown Live winner here, man. Either The Miz or Randy Orton are my choices for the crown jewel. So I did like that little nugget that we got from Shane McMahon here in the crown jewel World Cup tournament. Those are the two big things on SmackDown Live. Those are the two things that I wanted to start off with, man. Becky Lynch did cut a very, very simple, very direct promo to Ronda Rousey. Their build is off and running now for Survivor Series. Survivor Series are looking pretty good, man. Even with the unannounced Universal Championship match right now, or Universal Champion versus WWE Champion match, we got AJ Styles versus a possible, Braun Strowman or Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. Either one of those matches there with Joe is, like I said, intriguing. AJ, I would prefer Lesnar. So we got on top of that, Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. So Survivor Series is looking pretty damn stacked already, man. And I don't get excited about pay-per-views all that often. That's going to be pretty hype. And I'm excited about what Survivor Series is going to continue to add on. Charlotte was invited to lead the SmackDown Live women's roster on SmackDown Live at Survivor Series. She said she doesn't deserve it. She doesn't think she's the right woman for the job. Who that leaves on SmackDown Live, I don't know. Maybe Asuka, maybe Naomi. I don't know. SmackDown Live right now doesn't have really a whole lot of women to look forward to outside of Becky Lynch. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think SmackDown Live did a great job at building towards Crown Jewel and getting you excited for Survivor Series. And that's all they needed to do. Plus, we got a WWE Championship match out of it. Crown Jewel came early. Good stuff tonight, man. Can't really say anything bad about the show outside of a few minor things. So, SmackDown Live opened up, man, with the WWE Championship match. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. This is how this match came about. They went about it in a very simple way. And I really, instead of the John Cena announcement that we got on Monday Night Raw of him being out of the tournament, and WWE didn't really give an explanation, it was so half-assed, it was ridiculous. John Cena was in the World Cup tournament. They replaced him with Bobby Lashley. And their explanation was, well, John Cena didn't earn a right in the tournament. He didn't earn entry into the tournament like everybody else. So they're replacing him with Bobby Lashley, who also didn't earn a spot in the tournament by wrestling for it. So you're replacing one guy who didn't wrestle for it with another guy who didn't wrestle for it. And they used the explanation of, well, John Cena didn't qualify like everybody else. Here you go. Ridiculous. At least on SmackDown Live, we got some sort of explanation and a nice, simple storyline to get us to the title match to open the show. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, their championship match started like this on SmackDown Live tonight.
After what happened last week, I feel like I need to apologize. So for that, I'm sorry. Yeah.
AJ, no need to apologize. You and I are fighting for the same prize. And I think you know, I think everybody knows, that I have an infinite amount of respect for you, both as a man and as an in-ring competitor. But when I look at you right now, I don't see a friend. All I see is the WWE Championship. And you see, that title has a lot of meaning to me, because when I was hurt, when I was told I would never wrestle again, the thing that kept me fighting, the thing that I dreamed about was that WWE Championship, and the only thing standing in my way is you.
And I like that they're keeping that aspect apart on Daniel Bryan and his character.
So
he came back because of that.
AJ,
he never lost it.
But I am going to take that title from you, and I'm going to do it this Friday at Crown Jewel.
Wow, that's good to know. Good to know. But you didn't let me finish. I'm sorry, because I lied to you last week. That Pele kick I said was an accident. It was meant for you.
Damn.
Hey. Nothing personal, Daniel. But I look forward to doing it again this Friday.
Now, I do feel with him saying that, that they sped up this storyline. I do think that they jumped several weeks ahead to kind of bring this to a little conclusion right now. But I don't think this is the last time that they're going to be in the ring together. So I do think with that announcement of AJ Styles saying that, yeah, that Pele kick was meant for you, that's WWE pretty much saying, without saying it, that, yeah, we're speeding up this storyline just to get us through Crown Jewel.
What a shocker! That was on purpose? Oh, I would have never guessed that. We had two identical twins in the ring, yet you hit me. How about this, AJ? I don't lie. I am 100% honest, so believe me when I tell you right now, I feel like hitting you on purpose.
And they are in Atlanta. Daniel Bryan was not as popular as AJ Styles, obviously.
You know what? We don't have to wait to Crown Jewel. I will defend this WWE Championship right here, right now, in the ATL.
Simple.
Oh, boy. We're not going to make it to Crown Jewel.
So Shane McMahon comes out, obviously.
Here comes the commissioner of Smackdown Live.
You know, we've seen this before, haven't we? Two competitors in the ring saying that they want to go at it right here, right now, but it never seems to transpire. Well, this is Smackdown Live, and I'm back. So what's going to happen is we're going to have AJ Styles taking on Daniel Bryan in the Crown Jewel WWE Championship match right here tonight in Hotlanta, Georgia.
You gotta be kidding me. This is nuts.
As a matter of fact, it's gonna happen right now. Get a referee out here, and let's go.
What? Oh my God. What a decision by Shane McMahon. Crown Jewel come early. Here comes an official. Bryan versus Styles for the WWE title.
That's the way SmackDown Live opened up, man. I did have a few issues with this, okay? It's very frustrating to watch AJ Styles work as the WWE Champion and not be put in the main event. I feel like everything else WWE does is taking priority over the WWE Championship. I asked around, and I asked, why is this match being made tonight to open the show and not be put in the main event? The one resounding answer that I got was that AJ Styles is wrestling tonight with Charlotte in the Mixed Match Challenge. That's a reason to keep the WWE Championship match, a match between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, out of the main event. So the mixed match challenge is more important than the WWE Championship. The mixed match challenge is more important than Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. Come on, dude. So little things like that frustrate me, man. I am of an old school mentality. The biggest title in the company, fuck the Universal title. The biggest title in the company is on SmackDown Live, and it's not in the main event. A match of this caliber, a WrestleMania quality match, not in the main event because of fucking mixed tag team wrestling on Facebook Watch. So it's a little frustrating to see the title positioned in that way. Now, why is something like this opening the show? If there wasn't a mixed match challenge, I could see WWE still opening the show with this. Oh, you got to start hot. It's just as important as the way you open the show as the way you close the show. Some goons would like to say. Now, I understand that mentality. I understand where they're coming from. But this is AJ Styles. This match should be in the main event, no question. Absolutely no question. So that was my little gripe here with this. Everything else about it, I thought was great. The simplicity of how we got the match tonight and not on Friday. Samoa Joe coming back at the end and kind of involving himself once again with unfinished business. He was always that wild card for WWE, and they utilized him brilliantly. I just hope that he's not too hurt to a point where they're going to use him and then goodbye Samoa Joe. I don't want to see that happen. But I thought this was a great way to get the match tonight instead of on Friday. And this was a very, very good match, man. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was one of the best matches of the year. I think these guys left a lot on the table, even though we got pretty much most of the first hour with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. I think they could do so much better. I think on pay-per-view, these guys could really tear it down with no limitations if WWE allowed them to. It's tough for me to sit here and say something on SmackDown Live was one of the best matches of the entire 2018 year. I can't do that. There was 2 commercial breaks in this thing. If I'm watching a WWE Championship match that I was supposed to see on Friday with no commercial interruption, on Tuesday with 2 or 3 commercial breaks, it's a little frustrating as well to the viewer. And that's a lot of in-ring time that I am not seeing sitting at home. You guys have a different perspective if you're sitting in the arena. I can't. I can't gauge it that way. I can't view it that way. I can't grade it that way. So it's a little frustrating for me having to sit at home with something like this, and I can't see the entirety of what they're trying to do here. They did what they could do, and they excelled at it. I'm not going to sit here to tell you it was one of the best matches I've seen all year, but WWE got away with it because it's Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, and everybody was excited. The story of this match was Daniel Bryan and his knee. I think it was his left knee. Daniel Bryan, man, the way he lands at points, there was 2 instances in which he landed in this match that I usually cringe because I know the way WWE is monitoring him and watching what he does, and they're giving him concussion tests after every match. Every time he lands on his back or his neck, I'm hoping it's not catastrophic. There was 2 instances in this match. Can't even fucking speak right now. He did a suicide dive on the outside, and he went to go grab his knee. I legitimately thought that he tweaked his knee. Either he did, and he didn't really play up to the fact, or he's damn good at what he does. At this point, I'm like, all right, he's not injured, because the referee came over and Mike Chioda asked, "Are you okay?" And Daniel Bryan, gave him a quick yes. He was just selling the aspect of the knee for the sake of the match, which was great. The knee was the story of the match. Daniel Bryan, putting pressure on the knee and the leg, trying to continue doing what he usually does against anybody in the ring. He couldn't do it with AJ Styles. So that was the focus of the match, which led to the ending being put in the calf crusher. There was another instance in which I think Bryan came off the top rope, and it was almost like a back suplex, and he landed on his back and his neck. AJ Styles delivered a back suplex off the top rope. I mean, my God, man. Bryan went immediately. He landed on the side of his head. He went to go grab his neck. He rolled to the outside. I legitimately thought something was wrong there. So it was just Daniel Bryan, I'm assuming, really doing his job well. But he really makes you fucking take a few deep breaths there in hopes that, oh my God, is he hurt? Or, he really makes you think. So it's a little scary watching Daniel Bryan wrestle with those big, big bumps. But at the end of this thing, man, AJ springboards in for the phenomenal forearm. Daniel Bryan blocked it. He goes for an armbar in the middle of the ring. AJ's trying to fight out of it. Bryan turns that into the yes lock. Referee's checking on AJ, but AJ powers out of the yes lock. Bryan turns that into a triangle. Bryan would not let go of the hold. AJ looks to be fading at this point, and Bryan tries to complete the hold. Fans are going crazy for AJ. Daniel Bryan, he was the one that they weren't going for. I'm not going to say he got a heel-like reaction, but AJ was the more popular of the two, being that they were in his hometown. So AJ powers up and nails a Styles Clash with the hold still applied, and he nails a Styles Clash on Daniel Bryan. AJ then applies the calf crusher, and Bryan is trying desperately to reach for the ropes, and AJ keeps it locked in, and Bryan taps out. Clean. Daniel Bryan taps out, and AJ retains the WWE Championship. After the match, they shake hands, and I honestly thought that Daniel Bryan was going to give him a cheap shot or a low blow or something along those lines. Thank God he didn't, because it really wouldn't fit his character. Out of nowhere comes Samoa Joe. He hits the ring, attacks AJ from behind, and Bryan is leaving the ring. He goes back in the ring and tries to help AJ, and he receives a coquina clutch for his troubles. Joe unloads on AJ and put the coquina clutch on him. So both guys embraced after their match, and Joe just leaves them laying with 2 coquina clutches on SmackDown Live. I thought it was great. I thought it was really great. Joe is now involved, and I'm hoping that he stays involved in the main event for the WWE Championship going on through the rest of the year. I think it makes perfect sense. And like I said, WWE is fortunate that Daniel Bryan doesn't want to work Crown Jewel. Now they could add Samoa Joe and still get their WWE Championship out of it. And look at it this way. These guys going over to Saudi Arabia are being paid handsomely. Joe is making a pretty penny for being included in Crown Jewel. So there you go. Works out for everybody. Works out for WWE storylines on television. And Joe is getting a very good payday out of that. Charlotte wants to kind of keep her options open for captaining the SmackDown Live women's roster at Survivor Series. Paige wants to make her a captain, and Charlotte said that there is probably a better woman for the job. So they're probably going to tease this thing, and I don't know where they're going with it, but I assume at the end of it, Charlotte's going to be the captain for SmackDown Live, because honestly, nobody else makes sense. Legitimately, nobody else makes sense at this point. I could see Asuka being on there. I could see Naomi being on there. I could see maybe the Iconics being on there. Let's get the Iconics on there, man. I know Naomi and Asuka have battled the Iconics, but this is for brand supremacy. So put your differences aside for one night. I would like to see those two get some spotlight and start to be built up. After Evolution's embarrassment, I think we need to start building the Iconics and making them a little bit more serious on SmackDown Live. That's just my honest opinion. Trick or Street Fight, Big E versus Cesaro. See, this is the cringe that we get with a fucking Halloween theme show or a holiday theme show in general. When Christmas is coming around, there'll probably be a Nightmare on 34th Street Fight or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. Miracle on 34th Street Fight. Every one of these fucking street fights is a Nightmare on fucking Elm Street fight. Fucking ridiculous. They give me nightmares, man. It's so fucking cheesy. You got fucking pumpkins and skeletons. You got bobbing for apples at ringside. It's fucking ridiculous. It's not fun at all. It looks absolutely fucking lame. I don't know who enjoys this shit. They couldn't get away with not having one of these fucking lame segments. So, the New Day come down to the ring dressed as the Brood. We had Xavier Woods dressed as Edge, Big E was dressed as Gangrel, and Kofi was dressed as Christian. And hearing that theme song, man, really brought back memories, man. A lot of you guys really loved the theme song back in the day from the Brood. So that brought back some fucking memories, man. This match was trash. This was nothing but fucking hokey garbage. Sheamus is in the middle of the ring. he sees, there's no DQ here. It's a fucking street fight. So obviously you were going to get the Big Show involved. You were going to get Sheamus involved. Kofi and Xavier Woods were going to get involved. Sheamus enters the ring, nails Big E from behind. Sheamus tries to put Big E through a table that's propped up in the corner. Big E counters and sends Sheamus through the table. Before that, these guys were suplexing. Big E and Cesaro were suplexing each other on fucking jack-o'-lanterns. Exactly what I want to see on the go-home show for Crown Jewel. So Sheamus went through the table. Woods runs in, kicks Show. He does a wrecking ball dropkick to Show on the outside. And Show grabs Kofi. Kofi does a suicide dive. He grabs Kofi, grabs him by the throat, grabs Woods by the throat as well. He was about to chokeslam them through a table full of pancakes on the outside. And instead of chokeslamming them, we get a mist in the face by Xavier Woods. He mists Big Show's face with red mist. And Cesaro and Big E are in the ring now going back and forth. Big E then spits red mist at Cesaro and then delivers the big ending for the win. Hokey fucking garbage. And these two teams have a title match at Crown Jewel on Friday. If they wanted me to be as little interested as possible, this was the way to go about it. Trash. Can't have one of these shows without a holiday-themed fucking match. Come on. Are we for? Fuck out of here, dude. Now, I don't know if I misread things or maybe Ty Dillinger. I was going to say Tyler Breeze. Another fucking dead and buried. He might as well be fucking buried with the jack-o'-lanterns on Halloween. Ty Dillinger. I could have swore Ty Dillinger was going to receive a U.S. title match. In fact, Paige actually booked a U.S. title match on SmackDown Live with Ty Dillinger and Shinsuke Nakamura. Where was that? Where did that go? And why did they change their plans? I don't really understand this lack of effort or lack of a push for Ty Dillinger. You announce something on social media and then don't go through with it. You don't follow through with it. Why? Now, I understand that Ty Dillinger really didn't deserve a U.S. Championship match. It was just made out of the blue. I understand that. I'm an advocate for deserving or at least giving guys, title matches who deserve it. R-Truth didn't deserve one. So they replaced one guy who didn't deserve it with another guy who didn't deserve it. So what's the fucking difference if it's Ty Dillinger or R-Truth? Makes me wonder what's going on with Ty Dillinger in the back and if people really don't like Ty Dillinger. Or if it's one of those things, well, we don't have any creative plans for him. No, but we got to get a fucking 7-second dance break in front of, in a U.S. Championship match. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't mind the 7-second dance break, but in the middle of a Shinsuke Nakamura match? Come on, man. Shinsuke Nakamura wins here with a Kinshasa. Nothing to it, really. Tom Phillips on commentary said that at Survivor Series, it will be the U.S. champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus whomever the Intercontinental Champion is. At this point, WWE would be foolish to not book Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Take my money. Going to be a great match, man. Becky Lynch hits the ring. She gets into the ring to cut a very, very simple promo on Ronda Rousey, man. Becky says she won. She was wearing a shirt that says, "I am the man." I don't know if you should be wearing that with the state of social media, man. They might think otherwise. They already think otherwise with some of the other women on this roster. So be careful where you wear that shirt. I am the man. I know why she's doing it because, she beat Ric Flair's daughter, and that was his catchphrase. To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and Becky is the man. So it's just living up to whatever Charlotte's father said, or his catchphrase. I understand why they did it, but be careful with that, Becky says she won. She folded up Charlotte on a stack of chairs and drove Charlotte through the chairs. More punishment at Evolution, but she won. Becky says she is the last woman standing, and when Evolution was over, there was only one woman who everyone saw was the rightful main event. Her. Becky says defeating Charlotte Flair was the most decorated, by defeating Charlotte Flair, the most decorated woman in history, she proved she is the man. That's going to get old real fast. That goes for Raw and SmackDown. Becky says she will go and smack the heads off everyone there is if she has to. Becky then says, well, what's next for her? And then she brings up Ronda Rousey. Becky, I love this promo. I love this. Becky says, the other women who Rousey has stepped in the ring with were already defeated before they even stepped foot in the ring with her. I loved that line. That's a fucking shot and a spit in the face of everybody that stepped in the ring with Ronda Rousey. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Bella, Alicia Fox. Garbage. This is the champ we're talking about. The real women's champion. So Becky says that she is built differently. So Becky says she didn't come to cosplay or talk about reality TV. She's going to Survivor Series to rip Ronda's arm off. Becky drops the mic, and that was it. You can't get any more hype than what Becky just said there. Simple. I loved it. At the end of this show, man, we got a very generic tag team match for SmackDown Live standard or WWE standard. This is what they do. Ooh, let's put the 4 guys on SmackDown inside for the Crown Jewel World Cup tournament in the tag team match, man. Let's put them in a tag team match. There's 2 baby faces and 2 heels. I think we'll go about that, man, because we're fucking lazy. That's exactly what they did. So you got The Miz and Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio. Basic. Nothing out of the ordinary here, man. Really nothing out of the ordinary. Rey and Miz go back and forth. Hardy tags in, and Rey sends Miz into the turnbuckles. Poetry in motion by Jeff Hardy off of Rey Mysterio. Jeff follows with that, and then Rey sends Miz into the ropes for the 619. Hardy then follows up with a Swanton Bomb on the Miz for the pin. There you go. The babyfaces win to close out SmackDown Live. After the match, Orton is pissed off. He drops Hardy with an RKO. Rey Mysterio comes off the top rope, and Orton lands him with an RKO off the top rope. And then The Miz, I don't know why The Miz didn't leave the fucking ring. You'd think The Miz would be fucking smarter than this. Goes over and taps Randy Orton on the back as, yeah, we're standing tall. He gives an RKO to The Miz at the end of this thing. I'm either going with The Miz or Randy Orton to win the World Cup tournament on Friday. Those are my picks there for the Crown Jewel World Cup. That's pretty much it on SmackDown Live, man. You know, the 2 big things, or the 3 big things. I'm gonna include Becky in this because Becky's one of the best things on SmackDown Live. Becky's promo to Ronda, beautifully done, simple. And we got Shane McMahon's announcement that if SmackDown Live does not win the World Cup, they will no longer find a home on SmackDown Live. I like that. It builds intrigue. It builds interest for the tournament, in which it didn't really have anything going into this. So I like that aspect of it. And the whole situation with Daniel Bryan not working Crown Jewel. Confirmed he's not working Crown Jewel. And now AJ versus Joe is the WWE Championship match. All the possible scenarios leading out of that event going into Survivor Series, man. Let me know what you guys think about that. It was a very, I would say, compact episode of SmackDown Live. But the big things coming out of here are really big talking points as we head on into Friday and then on into Survivor Series, man. So let me know what you guys think about that. I'm getting out of here. And I'm sorry I'm gonna keep this short, man, but there really wasn't a lot to talk about outside of those 3 big things, really. It was one of those shows. So I will see you guys for NXT tomorrow. We got great stuff coming up on Wednesday with NXT and NXT UK. We got a Spider-Man Part 10, Spider-Man PS4 Part 10 premiere at 3:30, so make sure you guys tune into that as well. And we will be covering all of Crown Jewel on Friday, and then Off the Script will be Part 1 on Saturday. So make sure you guys are aware of the scheduling change for this week only, man. Crown Jewel on Friday, and then we're going to do Off the Script starting on Saturday this weekend for you guys. So make sure you guys are aware of that going on into the weekend. I'm getting out of here, man. Thank you guys so much for everything. Please make sure you get your 100,000 commemorative t-shirt right there, man. 100,000 subscriber commemorative t-shirt. barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. That is available right now, man, and we are about 75 subscribers away from 100,000, man. It's right here. It's upon us. Make sure you guys go out and get your t-shirts and support the podcast through 100K, man. And please follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button. Become one of the 100,000. Give that bell the middle finger. And if you guys want to support on Patreon, man, patreon.com/JD from NY206. I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Spider-Man and NXT. I'll talk to you later.